Throughout these 2 days of ND Day, you have heard Joe Theismann do so much great work interviewing other folks. But we can't have Joe here and not talk to him. I will relay to you. I don't expect you to remember. There's no way. But the first time I met you was at Giant Stadium. I was in town with Jeff Jeffers to do the Notre Dame Navy game back to South Bend. It was either 83, 84, 85, one of those years. And I mean, I'm a young broadcaster, and here comes Joe Theismann into our booth. You appeared on our post-game radio show, and it jumped out to me. I'm thinking, he's treating me like I deserve to be here. He's treating me like an equal. And it dawned on me that I was associated with Notre Dame. And that's all you needed to hear.
Sure.
You were still active at the time. You made the trip up Washington. It wasn't that difficult to see your team. And every time I've seen you since then, which is dozens of times, your love and respect for this place, if possible, seems to grow every year. Why is that?
Oh, I guess you go back to the beginning when I had the opportunity to be a part of the Notre Dame student body, which I love the term student athlete because here at the University of Notre Dame, it really applies students first, athletes second. I barely got in. I mean, back when I came in school in 1967, you had to have a projected like 1.6. I think it was a 1.61. I sort of snuck in. They took a chance on me. They gave me an opportunity to play. Era is a big part of it for me. I love the man. I love the foundation, everything they're doing to try and fight such a horrible disease. And he made me a man. He helped me grow up as a person. He put his faith in me. And I've sort of taken that very personal in every aspect of my life. If someone puts their faith in me, I can't disappoint them. It's part of the quarterback position. I think of like a guy like Peyton Manning, for example. Wherever he went, it's the players and the people around him that have to raise their level of performance because they know where he's going to be. What Era did for me is he gave me a chance to step in that huddle with a whole bunch of veterans. And he believed in me with 3 games to go. And then we went out on the coast to play USC. And I'll never forget the first pass I threw was intercepted by Sandy Durko at USC. I walked by Era and I said, don't worry about it, I'll get it back. Because I asked him one day, I said, why me? I mean, you had Bob Belden, you had Coley, you had 2 seniors, but yet it was me. And he said, I just felt like it was your time. And it's the way I feel at the University of Notre Dame. It's our time to let the world know. We do something here with Notre Dame Day that nobody does, and nobody would even dream of doing it to the extent that we can do it because of the family of Notre Dame around the world. And we truly are a family. Every person I talked to today through the course of the 2 days, and you've found the same thing, you hear the term family about the University of Notre Dame. And that's why I love it. I love to do anything I can to support our university.
If I remember correctly, that game you're talking about with Era, you threw for what, 524 yards?
Oh, yeah. No, that was my first one was the interception. The last one was 500 some yards. That's right. That one was in the rain.
Yes, and I remember that, the pouring rain.
Uniquely enough, the offensive line coach at USC was a guy by the name of Joe Gibbs in that game. So it's funny how life runs in cycles.
It really does. You do a lot of motivational speaking.
I do.
Okay, you're a Super Bowl champion, NFL MVP, College Football Hall of Famer. Obviously, when I came of age as a sports fan, I think we're 9, 10 years different in age. So when I started paying attention to sports, those 2 Cotton Bowls, they're burned in my memory. And I didn't even realize then that that was Notre Dame's return to bowl games.
It's been a number of years since we played in one.
When you walk into a room to speak to them, what do you want them to think when they see Joe Theismann?
You know, I really don't go in with a preconceived notion of what I want them to think of me. What I want them to do is give me a chance to just tell some stories, both good and bad, things that I've gone through that have affected my life in a negative way, things that have affected my life in a positive way. And I want them to take a look at their life. I call myself Joey Appleseed. When I put a presentation together, I want to be able to talk to the people and say, this is what's happened in my life, and I promise you it's happening in yours, maybe in a different way. I use football as somewhat of a common denominator, but I really talk about life, business, and football, and how they all parallel one another. The foundations that we learn on the athletic field carry over into every aspect of life. So many people have been involved in athletics, and they can take things away from it. And what I want to do is I want to share those experiences with them, give them a little bit of a foundation so that they can either take it back to someone or look at their life and say, I'd like to try that. I never tell anybody to do something, but why not try it? Why not try it and see if it feels comfortable for you? If it does and it helps you, why not do it? So, we're all of us that do the speaking are storytellers. Question is, can you bring it to people? And I think, and it's funny, like I'll travel all over the country. Dallas, Texas, as an example, and of course they love their Cowboys and they don't like us with the Washington Redskins. I'll travel through Dallas and I'll check into the hotel and I'll say, man, you know, I'm a Cowboy fan. I just don't like, you know, you Washington Redskin guys. But the fact that you went to Notre Dame, I appreciate you. And that's sort of the little footnote that goes with the competitive part from the world of professional football I came out of.
Obviously, ND Day, 2 days. Everybody knows Notre Dame special for you. But you also had an experience that not every professional player gets, that you played for another special program with special coaches, a special era, special teammates in the Washington Redskins. A lot of guys go to the pros. It's different. It's money, it's cutthroat, and they don't have that experience. So as we look at what has brought Joe Theismann to this point, is Notre Dame that first foundation, or is Joe Theismann supported by two pillars? Is one a Notre Dame pillar? Is one a Redskins pillar? I mean, how have they interacted together to create the Joe Theismann that we all love to listen to today?
Actually, it was Joe Theismann before I came here.
Well, I was going to get to that in a second. I was going to ask you that because there are people, I mentioned that to some folks that we forget. I know the story.
Well, it's 50 years.
The kids today,
God,
they have
years.
no. I mentioned that today that Roger Valdesari changed. I want you to get more detail on that. And, and the person, I mean, well, that's not how he pronounced his name, so tell that.
To answer your question, first of all, regarding the foundation is Notre Dame. I think those years from 17 to 21 for me were very, very influential years in my life. Being here at the university, they were extremely influential when it gave me a chance to be away from home, to figure out my own schedule, to figure out my own life, to make mistakes, to pick myself up, to put myself into a situation where I'm going to have to deal with things in life. And so it became the foundation for me, the solid foundation. And then you grow with each aspect. The 3 years I spent in Toronto in the Canadian Football League, absolutely loved it up there. Wasn't going to leave. The economics weren't good at that time. It's just like when it was in the NFL.
And that's how a football fit you perfectly.
Well, yeah, it was a wide open game, and we had a lot of American guys. I mean, Jim Stillwagon, Outland Trophy winner, Granville Liggins, Outland Trophy winner, Flea Allen from Michigan State. All those guys were on the team. We had guys from the pros go there, and then when I got into professional football, I always sort of, and even to this day, I sort of lean back on my days at Notre Dame and think of what the foundation looks like. Nothing is ever going to be built in any kind of a sturdy way unless it has a good foundation. And the brand that was created, the Theismann brand, was really that of Roger Valdesari when he called me in his office after our junior year, which was a really good year. And before our senior year, he said, how do you pronounce your last name? I said, it's Theismann. He said, no, Joe, it's Theismann. I said, no, Roger, it's Theismann. He said, no, it's Theismann. I said, give me the phone. I picked up the phone. I called my dad back home in New Jersey. I said, Dad, I got a question for you. He says, fire away, Joe. I said, Dad, how do you pronounce our last name? There was this silence on the phone. He came on, he said, are you okay? He said, you know, you're a senior at Notre Dame. Are you sure you're all right? You don't know who you are. I said, I'll explain later. Just how do you pronounce her last name? He said it was Theismann. I turned to Roger. I said, Rog, look, my name's Theismann. Just got a phone with my dad. He said, Joe, I want to tell you something. There's a trophy out there called the Theismann Trophy. It goes to the best college football player in the country. We think that you have a chance to win that trophy, but we're not only going to count on the reputation of the University of Notre Dame, nor your athletic skills. We think by just simply changing the pronunciation of your last name from Theismann to rhyme with Theismann, we can give you that trophy. And it was really the first time that anybody had marketed the Theismann Trophy. And Jim Plunkett won it that year. But that was a year of quarterbacks. Archie Manning, Rex Curran, Dennis Dummett, Dan Pastorini, and you know, Archie. We did these things together. It was a great year, and a lot of us still remain friends. I see Jim at Raider games. Archie and I text all the time. I mean, you know, how many dads have two world champion quarterbacks that have two rings? It was it was an unbelievable run for me. But it all started here. And that's why I love this place so much. That's why I talk to the young football players here. I talk to students here. You don't know what's out there after this. The family of Notre Dame is worldwide. You'll never ever sleep someplace where you won't have a pillow under your head. No matter where you travel in the world, there's somebody out there that went to the University of Notre Dame that will welcome you in with open arms. And that's what makes us so special.
And I'm guessing Roger is either watching this now or he's in his 90s.
I know.
He's having a little bit of a health battle now, but he still, when healthy, and beginning this basketball season, he comes to every game.
I saw him.
Sits next to me.
Kenny, and home at the basketball game, I know.
He is still fired up about all.
Broke his glasses at one of the Notre Dame games. I hugged him so hard, one of his glasses popped out. He said, I can't see. I said, let me help you. I just love the man. I do. I mean, he changed my life. And there's a footnote to that story. After the pronunciation of my name was changed, I called my grandmother, who was the matriarch of the family. And I said, Granny, they want to change my name from Theismann to Theismann. She says, Val, I want to tell you something. The correct pronunciation is Theismann. And actually, it's closer than what we have now. So it's perfectly fine with me. So I got the blessing of my grandmother.
You have reached the point in your life where you can choose what you do with your time. And for everybody who thinks, well, Notre Dame must pay Joe a lot to do this. You do this on your own. You do it every year. You don't do a 2-hour shift. You do both days. You work hard at it because you've done everything in broadcasting, Thursday night football, Monday night football, Sunday night football. I'm honored to be able to spend some time with you, and your love for this school just seems to keep growing.
It really does. I think we have exciting, getting a chance to talk to Muffet today. Somebody said to me, what were your favorite interviews today? I had so many. The offensive linemen, the defense.
And they're all good.
The tennis players. It's wonderful stories about the University of Notre Dame. I go back to last year. It isn't just what I do in an interview. We interviewed a person last year that played pachyderm polo. Actually, they take the 2 polo sticks, tie them together. They have a driver of the elephant, and they have somebody that hits it. They actually play elephant polo. Only at Notre Dame can you get ready to go play elephant polo. It's just, the stories are phenomenal. The scholarships that were given, the one young lady's going to Cambridge, the other to Oxford. The intellect, the knowledge that is imparted here, the students that come from so many different places, the culture that they've developed, their willingness to reach out and try different things. It's all what Notre Dame is all about. And that's why I love being here.
Every chance I get to talk to you, I enjoy.
I do too.
Some of my favorite times on the sideline this year were not when I was on the air. It's when I was standing there talking to you.
We'll have some more fun.
We're going to do it this fall. Thank you very much.